Hello, good day, welcome. This is Punchline. We are First News Nation. Of course, Punchline is a show that discusses national politics, and daily we have one political issue to discuss or the other. I am Sammy Ajufo. Thank you very much for joining us on today's broadcast. We hope you enjoyed several of our episodes so far. And if you have followed us on social media, thank you very much. If you're not used to it or you've not heard of how to join us on social media, please feel free to join us on Facebook, X, Instagram, or YouTube at First News Nation, or you could follow our channel on WhatsApp, First News Nation, so you could get latest updates of all our shows. Don't also forget that you can enable notifications on all these platforms, so every time we have a new episode of the show, you will be the first to know. Let's go for a short break. When we come back, we talk about the EFCC budget for the year 2024. Welcome back. It's still Punchline. I am Sammy Ajufo. Let's go into the meat of the matter. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission for the year 2024, just like every other MDA, will be making propositions to the National Assembly, and they have. For the year 2024, they're budgeting 76.586 billion naira, 76.586 billion naira for the year 2024. In the 2023 budget, they budgeted 49.901 billion, and it increases almost double of that. We're seeing 49 billion last year, 76 billion this year. The increase of 53.4% is mostly due to increase in personnel cost, which was 36 billion in 2023, but for the year 2024 is going for 37 billion naira. Meaning either they are going to be recruiting new staff or they are going to increase salaries and allowances. And they did say that that increase of 1 billion naira from 36 to 37 billion naira will be used for recruiting new staff. And when we talk about the new staff the EFCC will be recruiting, we're wondering whether this staff will include those people who will be going into hotels and people's private residences to attack them at night and break down their doors and arrest them under accusations of being fraudsters. Are we going to get more of these people? It's not the first time we've seen EFCC operatives, scale fences, jump into people's homes in the dead of the night, and you wonder whether the EFCC is now a guerrilla organization. Are these new staff supposed to be more people to be doing this, or they are going to bring more staff that will be more technical inclined? We're going to talk about that in a moment. The EFCC plans to increase staff in 2024, and they're budgeting 14 billion naira for overheads and capital cost of 25 billion naira, which was 2 billion naira in 2023. Last year, they budgeted 2 billion for capital costs, which means buying stuff, buildings, infrastructure, all those kind of projects. But in 2024 budget, they budgeted 25 billion naira. They claim most of their offices are rented offices across Nigeria, and they want to build their new zonal offices, which to me is not really much of an issue. But another side of this to save costs will be to consider all the houses and infrastructure and buildings that they have seized from supposed or suspected fraudsters, which are now auctioned off, and it's a means to make money for the government. Can you use some of these buildings as zonal offices of the EFCC? That's another option, rather than building new spaces while we plan ahead in the coming years to build all those kind of things. They said, well, they are rented apartments. Is the problem paying the rent, or they just want a new building? And they're budgeting 25 billion. However, the budget office came into their budget just as they would do, and they have done for many other MDAs, and reduce their capital costs. We're going to tell you how much they did that. But they said that from the planning for the year 2024, they want to build more offices rather than use rented apartments. In their budget, they also put together 2 billion for local travels, and to purchase office buildings, they are spending 1.5 billion. They want to buy office buildings, yet they want to build, again, part of 25 billion. So you wonder, why don't you buy off the buildings rather than build buildings? But what do we really know? We were going to look at how that pans out. The EFCC boss made a statement recently, which was really interesting. He said, for countries who are warehousing monies stolen by fraudsters in Nigeria, they are going to come for them. So it means the EFCC now is going to go global. They are not going to be playing local anymore. So what it seems like, and from the EFCC chairman's recent statements, is that the international community will be seeing more of the presence of the EFCC, especially chasing down countries who have been part, or countries who have warehouse monies stolen from Nigerians. The EFCC boss made a statement while appearing before the House of Representatives Committee to defend the budget of the EFCC for 2024. He said the money they are even budgeting is not even enough to scratch the surface, but they don't want to have Nigerians ask them questions and they give excuses. So give them the money they want, so there will be no excuses in the future. 16 billion naira was budgeted for foreign trips, and that's what made the EFCC chairman say they're going to be traveling a lot. So 16 billion for foreign trips. Recently as well, the Ministry of Trade and Investment, the Minister of Trade and Investment, in a presentation to the National Assembly, said they were going to spend about 1 billion naira on foreign trips, and it became headlines. We saw Senator Adams Oshomole criticizing that 1 billion for foreign trips. That's for a ministry in 2024, one ministry. But the EFCC in their budget was budgeting 16 billion for foreign trips. Of course, their budget was cut down to 600 million naira for foreign trips. So if a ministry is asking for 1 billion and an MDA is asking for 16 billion, rightfully, the budget office cut that budget down to 600 million from 16 billion. Can you imagine how much that was supposed to go to? The budget office also cut down the purchase of vehicles. The EFCC said they want to buy more vehicles. For how much? 2.6 billion. Budget office said, you're not going to do that. We're going to cut down that budget to 413 million. Why is everybody buying cars in billions? How many cars are you buying? What kind of vehicles are you buying? Operational vehicles? Vehicles with satellite navigation? What kind of vehicles will you buy? You're buying for 2.6 billion. So the EFCC they don't have cars, they don't have vehicles, operational vehicles. How would it look if I'm an agency that wants to fight crime and I'll be buying cars in which I'll just emblazon EFCC logo on them? Isn't it supposed to be a covert kind of thing? And how much cars do you want to buy? Well, the budget office, like I said, cut it to 413 billion. For ESTA codes in the year 2024, EFCC budgeted 1.9 billion for the EFCC chairman and other officers of the EFCC. You know, when you travel abroad as a government official, you are entitled to ESTA codes. Because the EFCC says they will be traveling a lot in 2024 to fight economic crimes in other countries, of course, when they budgeted 16 billion for trips, they budgeted 1.9 billion for ESTA codes. We don't know if they cut down the budget office. So the capital cost of 25 billion was cut down to 1.2 billion. And guess what? In the year 2023, the budget for capital cost was 2 billion. Now, the budget office has even cut the budget to even be lower than what they budgeted in 2023. The EFCC has said this budget that has been pruned by the budget office is not even enough to scratch the surface. So what new thing is the EFCC planning to do with this large budget of 76 billion naira? The question needs to be asked. I have other questions there. Out of this 76 billion, how much is invested in human capacity, in intelligence, in technical equipment, in data analysis? How much is being invested in these areas? Because the future of crime is now digital. Everyone is now looking at how to fight cybercrime, cyber stalking, several other things. There is nowhere in this budget of the EFCC where emphasis was laid on having a data center. Should we assume that the EFCC has a data center? Do they have a data center in all the 6 geopolitical zones of Nigeria? Well, then what is the 76 billion for? So it seems to me that the EFCC wants to focus more on infrastructure, on human resources in terms of new staff and traveling abroad. That is the focus of the EFCC in 2024. Was the EFCC involved in all the loots of Abacha that were being repatriated to Nigeria? Is this part of the work they have done? That question needs to be asked. Where is the investment in research-based investigation rather than guesswork? If we have research-based investigations and we have an EFCC that is technologically savvy, data-driven, we will have less of people invading people's privacies. We'll have less of EFCC parading young fraudsters with laptops, with phones, with cars, because that's mostly what we see. Or recently we heard that they are chasing a former minister for fraud, what, over $6 billion or something like that. But aside that, is there any investment in the budget of EFCC to say, we're going to get trained by Amazon Web Services, we're going to be trained by Facebook, we're going to be trained by any tech company, any Silicon Valley company that can train our staff on how to locate all these things? We said this about the military and when we had the unfortunate bombings. How much money is being invested in those kind of areas to make sure that we prevent any future mishap? There is no investment in that for fintech monitoring, partnering with financial technologies. There is no part of that budget that is invested in cryptocurrency training, in trading patterns, ethical hacking. How many EFCC staff can we say have knowledge in all that? Because that is where the fraud is going to in the years to come. Will the 2 billion naira for operational vehicles, which was cut down to 413 million, will it be used for better things than just jumping into people's houses? Do you need more cars or do you need more information? That's a critical question we need to ask. You're investing money in buying more vehicles to buy fuel of 700 naira per liter. We don't even know how much you're going to spend operationally to fuel these cars across the states in Nigeria. Of course, you know, the fuel price in Lagos is not the same with Abuja. It's not the same with Port Harcourt. It's not with Enugu. It's not the same in Maiduguri. How do you, in this day and age, how do we have data listening devices if we need that? Will the 76 billion naira help EFCC go after major financial crime rather than parade suspects with their cars, laptops, phones, and all that? The financial institutions and complaints of financial fraud, people's cash getting missing, is that not still part of the EFCC's purview? So when we talk about the 76 billion being proposed by the EFCC, irrespective of how much was finally approved by the National Assembly, what is the thrust of the EFCC chairman for his tenure in the next how many years in which he's going to be chairman? Are we going to see a paradigm shift from the EFCC to resolve economic and financial crimes, whether it's from the low level or from the high level? When we're hearing, recently the EFCC chairman said something about, especially in the southern part of Nigeria, where there's land racketeering crimes, where people are defrauding people using land. A lot of people will, you know, that funny story of this land is hot cake, it's 7 minutes away from the road, it's going to have tower, it's going to have all that. The crime is being committed in the real estate sector. How much of that is the EFCC going to tackle without using all the operational vehicles, without having to travel abroad, without having to build new buildings? So what matters more, cutting off from the source or chasing after the outcomes? So far, EFCC has been chasing after outcomes, not cutting from the source. Before that, Yahoo boy becomes a Yahoo boy. And we should also understand that because of the new way of doing business, because of remote work, because of new opportunities that have been brought about by technology, not everyone not every young person out there with a laptop or walking around looking good or driving a good car is a Yahoo boy. Dreads, dressing down doesn't make anybody a Yahoo boy. So you don't need to profile everybody. The times have changed, and it's time for Financial Crimes Commission, the ICPC, the Nigerian police, every other person in security should also know how to move along with the times. So we should have less of that. If I'm young and I'm driving a good car, you should ascertain my source of income by technological means and all that. Very simple. Track things, not using what looks like guesswork. But we're hoping that the new chairman's ideology of EFCC or the ICPC or whichever crime agency will change and will begin to adapt new technologies, new formats to fight crime. If you have a comment, drop them in the comment section below. We'll be very happy to hear what you have to say about the comments. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media handles. You can as well look for us on WhatsApp. Our WhatsApp channel is First News Nation. Thank you very much on behalf of the entire production team. I'm Sammy Ajufo. See you again next episode as usual. Try your best, do your best to stay safe.